Mr. President, you are a second felony offender. Your offense is vehicular homicide. You were sentenced on May 11th, 2016. You received a 25-year sentence at hard labor. Your parole date is May 1st, 2021. Your good time date is November 9th, 2022. And your full term date is February 1st, 2040. Is that information correct?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Wise. Mrs. Wise?
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning.
You doing all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. Call out for the record how long you served on this 25-year sentence.
At the end of this month, on the 31st, it'll be 6 years.
Okay, 6 years on the 31st. Okay. How many write-ups have you had in these 6 years?
I had 3.
That's great. Great. When was your last one?
I can't recall when my last one was, but I think I've been right up free almost 3 years.
Good. That's really that's good. And I'm going to call out for the record some of your programs that you completed. You did Kairos back in March of 2019. You did Living in Boundness. You completed that 12/1/2000. That's just some of you in a spelling bee. I don't know how you participated in a spelling bee in 2007. That impressed me. You did AA and NA in 2018. There was a notation that you're enrolled in high set. How is that going?
It's going good. I moved from one level, from E level to M level.
Oh, good, good. How long? So how long? Is there a prediction and how long it will be before you get your high set?
Right now we are doing distance learning, and I don't go to school but like one day now, and I'm kind of like just getting just a little behind because I learn better with a teacher. We just got a new teacher, Ms. Barfield, and she taught me so quick to go from M level. From E level to M level.
Good. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like you're excited. The report that we get from probation and parole, they list all your bookings, so to speak, in contact with law enforcement. How many bookings would you say you've had in your lifetime?
How many bookings?
Yeah, to law enforcement. Yeah.
I would say about that means like going to jail or something.
Yeah, just contact with law enforcement,
I would just take a wild guess, like about 8 times.
How many?
About 8.
80?
No, 8. 8.
8. Okay, 8 times. Okay. I counted up from 1988 to 2015. There were 84 incidents. I'm talking about traffic tickets. I'm talking about any kind of contact with law enforcement where they had to do. Most times it involves a fingerprint or some kind of citation was issued or something, or summons was issued. 84. From 1988 when you were 20 years old to 2015 when you were 47 years old. You were getting it, sir. You were getting it. And you are 52 today, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You've been in this game since you were 20 years old. So tell me why I should vote to let you out early today.
Because I have changed, and I have been rehabilitating myself, and I have been staying out of trouble, and I have been in school trying to get my high set, and I have changed the way that I talk to my family, and I have got on God's side, and I went to church, and then this now time, I think that was in 17, I did this now service. I went all the way through, and I have really waking up you know, since I've been here at David Wade, because this the best thing really could have happened to me, because the way I was heading on the street, I was heading for destruction. And I might have wouldn't even been here today if I wouldn't have came. I'm glad they sent me him, because Warden Goodman, he got this him real good, and I learned, and I'm glad I'm at Wade, because it did something for me. It did something for me, they very strict right here, and I'm scared to go to the blocks and stuff like that there, and it just did something to me, and I promise I'll never come back again.
Yes, I'm glad to hear that, sir. I'm glad to hear that. I do want to inform you now, as a part of this process, we do reach out to the law enforcement community to get your opinion about early release. Because remember, the judge did sentence you to 25 years. And I just want to inform you, there's a lot of opposition in the law enforcement community against you getting out early. And I think one of you even said that at the time you had this accident, you were on suspended license. And they, you know, they pointed that out. And of course, there was the death of a child riding a bicycle. So tell me, what is your plan to stay clean and sober? What's your plan?
I'm going home to my family, and I'm going out and find me a job. I don't care. The first job somebody give me, I'm going to work, and I'm going to church. My brother is a pastor, James Presentine at One Way to Heaven. And I'm going to be with my church family and my family, and people, places, and things have already changed in my life.
So what about how you gonna stay clean and sober in terms of treatment? Do you think you need any more treatment? Or you think you're done?
I can give me some more treatment. I don't mind, because whatever to keep me from coming back here, I don't never want to come back again. Never want to come back again. And my brother is a counselor, and I talked with him, and my wife been counseling with me too. I've been with her for 36 years.
Look, on the day of this accident, there was some indication that you were taking your wife to work on that day. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Y'all were running late?
No, but I hit the curve.
You were speeding. We're speeding.
Just by like 10 miles, I think, over speeding.
Were you under the influence?
I had a drink before I left, but I didn't have nothing on me or nothing like that. I was driving, but I had drank something early that day, but I didn't have that in the car or nothing like that. But I had some liquor that day. I did.
Mm-hmm. So the answer is yes, you were drinking that day.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, yes, you were drinking that day. And so you don't, so you have no plans for enrolling in any kind of substance abuse program per se. You're saying you're just gonna stay busy, and
I'm gonna stay busy. I'm gonna go to church, and my brother is a pastor, and I'm gonna be around him. So he been doing some counseling with me.
Okay. All right. I just let me get to the record. I want to make sure, because I was reading my notes. I want to, because Warden Goodman, he'll get me if I got this wrong. So let me make sure I review before I ask you about this, because it was kind of concerning to me. You know, as a part of this process, we get your work evaluation from your job there, and you had most of them fair and one good on your work evaluation, your work supervisor. Where do you work? I can't get it to open up.
When I work for Crew 30 right now, but when I first came here, I was on Crew 1. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but tell me about all this fair and not good or excellent. What's that all about?
I never had nobody to say anything to me about it.
Okay. Oh, you don't get to see it, huh? Your evaluation.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, this is the one from Crew 30 in October of 2020. You got good in ability to work independently, but you got fair in everything else. I was just wondering about that. So, like you said, you weren't aware of anything. I got your record. Now, your last DB was 6/26/18. So you've had 3. in these years. So if you're successful today, tell me, where would you live and how would you support yourself?
I live at 1117 Ronald Street, Bossier City, Louisiana, 71111.
And that's with who? That's with who?
That's with Annie Presidency. That's my wife.
Okay.
And she been working at the Hickory Stick for 16 years. And then my baby son, he worked also. And they say they gonna look out for me until I can find something. And then I got a letter from my cousin husband. He worked offshore, and he said that he was gonna look out for me something. And then it's another lady work go there where I live at. Told my wife as soon as I get out, she'll look out for me something too. I think it's at Circuit K, somewhere over there about where I live at, over there in Bossier.
Well, good. Well, good. I like that. You're looking for something. So, sir, do you have any? That's all I had, sir. That's all I had, Chairman.
Before I get to
Thank you.
Mr. Jones, Mr. President team, you said you were drinking that day. You weren't only drinking, you were drinking heavily. Your blood alcohol level was 0.12. And the legal limit is 0.08. And you are above that level by some. So you were not only drinking a beer, you had been drinking most of the day. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Jones.
Yes. Mr. President, how are you this morning?
How you doing?
And you may have already been asked this, but did you complete high school?
No, I didn't.
What grade you finished?
I stopped in the 9th grade.
9th grade. Have you tried to get your GED?
I'm in school right now, sir.
When will you finish that?
I can't really say because we're doing distance learning right now.
What school you were going to?
I think the last school I attended was Captain Shreve.
Captain Shreve, okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you live with your mother and father?
Yes, I did. My stepfather and my mother.
When did you get your driver's license?
Ooh, I was young when I got my mother co-signed for me. I was somewhere around 15.
Okay. And when did, as Ms. Wise read out earlier, you got about 84 different arrests. Most of them are traffic citations. You do have some domestic violence on it. And I think maybe 1 or 2 simple batteries. The domestic violence, what was that about?
So I was on them drugs at the time, and I used to go home and act out on that because I was out of my mind and stuff. And
How long you been on? How long when you first started?
When I first started using, I was kind of like young, around about 18.
Or younger?
About 18.
Okay. What was your drug of choice?
Cocaine.
You started off on cocaine?
I started out when I was real young. I got with the wrong crowd.
On cocaine?
Yes, I did.
Were you under the influence of cocaine today with the alcohol?
No, I wasn't.
You was not?
No, sir.
When did you first start getting these traffic citations? How old were you when you first got your first ticket?
When I first got my first ticket, I can't really recall that. I just say around maybe about 19. I can't really recall, but I've been getting them. I have been getting them for a while.
How about your first DWI?
Ooh, that's been a while.
I know a lot of times these DWIs get other things happen to them. How many DWIs have you gotten in your lifetime?
I think one.
How many?
I think one.
Just one DWI?
I know of one. I don't know, did they give me one this time when I had this accident? I mean, I can't recall, but I know I can recall one. And let me see when yeah, I can recall one.
Okay. So the others are just traffic violations,
Yes, sir.
speeding and no tail lights, those type of violations.
Yes, sir.
But as far as you know, just one DWI.
As far as I know.
Well, you should remember if a DWI, you'd ever get incarcerated on any of those traffic citations.
I did.
How many times you think?
Maybe about 8 times.
And you was incarcerated for just speeding citations and those not DWI?
Now I remember one in '95. It was for cocaine.
So you've had some other driving impairments.
I can't recall, but just I know I had a DWI. It's been so long ago, I can't really recall it.
Okay.
On the best of my
Okay.
knowledge.
I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. President Stein, I think I heard you say that you were married to Miss Annie for 36 years.
Well, I've been married 28, but we've been together like 36.
Okay, so you've been together for 36 years. Do you have any children?
I have 3.
And on occasions, you transported your wife and your children to church, school, and other places, vacations?
Sure did.
And do you realize the amount of traffic tickets and violations you put your family and other people in danger multiple times?
Yes, sir.
And you failed repeatedly to follow all traffic rules and guidelines set out when you got a driver's license.
Yes, I was up under the influence. I had problems and stuff in my life at that time.
So you endangered the life of your wife and children multiple times, and that didn't ring a bell and says, I need to get some help. You had to go to jail to get the help.
I got it now.
So basically, this entire time you are a risk to public safety. And finally, because of your negligence, you caused the death of an innocent little girl. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
And you had multiple opportunities to turn this around before you managed to kill someone. Warden Goodwin, would you like to make any comments or remarks?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Rocha. Randy's a likable individual. He's very courteous to staff for the most part. He's got some health issues, and that may have reflected a little bit, Ms. Wise, on those work evaluations. He does suffer from diabetes, and he has a pretty severe case of diabetes. And he spends a lot of time in the infirmary during working hours getting insulin shots and things of that nature. So he has expressed remorse for the crime. I know he's done a very poor job of telling the board that today, but I think you'll notice the letter from the chaplain Chaplain Atkins in his record that was sent to the parole board. And in discussions I've had with him, he has expressed remorse for the crime that he's committed. And he has strived for positive things within the institution. He is attending school, attempting to get his GED. I'm not sure he'll get there before he discharges in 2022. And he has told me, I don't know why he failed to mention this earlier, but he has talked to me about attending AA programming and other substance abuse programming once he gets out. So I think he does plan on staying sober. I think his health depends on that. He can't drink alcohol and mix that with his diabetes. And I think he plans to stay sober. He'll need a lot of help doing that, obviously, because he does have a very lengthy substance abuse problem that's gone on for a number of years. That's about all I can say about him. He's done well with this institution. He's put his best foot forward, and he's tried to do positive things while he was here. And he just doesn't. I think he may be a little nervous, and he's not doing a very good job of telling you all these things that you need to hear. And but he is a very likable and kind-hearted individual, and that's about all I can say about him, Mr. Washington, Mr. Rochette.
Thank you, Warden Goodwin. Miss Annie, would you unmute your mic, please? Would you please give your full name and your relationship to the offender and give us your statement?
My Annie Pearl Presentine, and I'm the wife of Randy Presentine. And I just would like to say hello to the members of the parole board. That I just want to apologize to the victim's family first, because that's what I want to start out with. Apologize on my husband's behalf about I'm truly sorry about the accident that happened on January the 31st, 2015, with the little girl involved in the accident. That he's have showed great remorse about the incident that happened, and it would be with him the rest of his life. He would never forget that. That's something he would never forget about, because he talked about it day in and day out, how truly sorry he is, how much remorse. And on his release, I'll be glad to support him until he find a job, and that he will be. And I'm gonna get him and sign him into some AA meetings and stuff, because I want that to continue, so he can stay sober, so he can stay on the influence of drugs and alcohol. So I'm gonna support him through his AA meeting and all that, because I have supported him throughout the facility. I really do love my husband. I miss him dearly. I know he's not a perfect man. Nobody's perfect. He's not a perfect man, but he does great things with his children. And I know he was a bit nervous, because a lot of time he said he was driving, but a lot of time I would drive us to the church and all that stuff. See, he just was nervous about what he was saying. And he have grandchildren. He have a grandchild that he have never seen. He's seen him, but he haven't seen grow up. And I just ask y'all to have mercy on him, because y'all, I really do miss him. And I have a disabled child at home that runs out, and I don't have nobody to help me with it. And I've been on my job. I've been at the Hickory Stick for going on 16 years. I work 6 days a week, and I have high blood pressure. And I just be going and going and going, and I don't have nobody to help me. But my son, he's 16 years old, and he have a job, and he have to go to school, and it's hard for him to deal with the children when he's in school and stuff, but he still helps me. And I just ask y'all to have mercy, and that's all I could say. And I love my husband. That's why I did what I do, and he have made mistakes down the line, and I ask y'all to look at the good parts as well as the bad parts. And God bless y'all.
Thank you, Ms. President Stein.
Okay.
At this time, we're going to hear from the victim's family, Ms. Henderson. Ms. Henderson, would you thank you. Would you please give us your name and give us your statement?
Hello, you guys. My name is Tequila Henderson. I am the mother of Deasia Henderson. It's been so hard the past 5 years for us, you guys. And to even must watch this video is breaking. I have forgave him. I have. But I just can't forget it. And for my understanding, it's gonna be 6 years. And this is the month that my little girl was taken away from me. And I know deep down inside, I know it wasn't his intentions to do what he did, but his selfish actions caused him to take my child away from me. My family deals with this every day. And as he sit there and say he want to get back home to his family, there's no way Deasia can come back home. And all I'm saying is I don't think it would be right for him to come home right now. I have 5 more siblings. Deasia would be the 6th. Well, I have 6 kids. And at the time my boys were in middle school and they really took upon of this action, and they really still dealing with this right now. I just can't say it's gonna be okay for him to be released. It's not. My family's hurting just as well as his, and the pain will never go away. Never.
Thank you,
I'm
Mrs.
sorry. I'm
Thank you,
sorry on
Miss.
his behalf.
Ms. Henderson,
Yes.
are you in contact with any kind of victim assistance? Because we have some here with our parole board. Have you talked to anybody?
Yes, I have. I'm
Okay,
counseling and everything. I've been getting the kids counseling. They've been
okay, good. Okay, good.
counseling and stuff.
I want to make sure now, because you can reach out to the parole board. We have some support there too as well.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry for your loss. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Henderson.
You're welcome.
Mr. President Stein, would you like to make a final statement?
Yes, I do. I'm here today and I want to apologize for my actions. And I'll never forget this him that happened. And if I could bring her back, I would. And this hurt me just as well as it hurt her. When every day I wake up, I gotta wake up with this him because it wasn't my intention. It wasn't my intention, and I'm sorry to the family. I love kids because I have small kids myself. And I can't imagine, how I would feel. I take this here tragedy just like it was my own. And every day I got to live with this him. But if I could do anything to bring her back, I would. And I'm sorry to all the community that I hurt and all the family that I hurt. And I got to live with this him the rest of my life. Even in here, or out there, when I get out, I still got to live with this him. And it's a scar that'll never heal. And I'm sorry, truly sorry for what I have done.
Thank you. Panel, are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Well said, Mr. Randy. Well said. Well said. Again, I want to commend you. You have 537 hours of programs. You have sat down and worked on yourself. You took a, I like how you commended the facility for what they offered, but I commend you for taking advantage of what the facility offered. Because you don't have a life sentence. You will be getting out someday. And so our hope is, that you will use the programs the Department of Corrections has invested in you to live a better life. But today, sir, I am just not really willing to take a chance on you. I must say insufficient time served. You only served 6 of a 25-year sentence. You have strong law enforcement opposition, and you have strong victims opposition. So, and also you have a significant arrest history. Like I said, 84 incidents. That's very concerning. But at this time, sir, I'm not willing to take a chance on you, but I commend you, and you just continue to work hard and take care of yourself. My vote is denied today, Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Jones.
Yes, Ms. Henderson, no time would be long enough. No time. And I want you to start preparing yourself. He will be released one day. So start getting prepared for that. But Mr. Henderson, I want to commend you for what you've done since you've been incarcerated, all the programs you've done. Your driving record speaks for itself. My vote today would be to deny also because of the law enforcement opposition, victim opposition, and 6 years on a 25 is just, I'm not prepared today to vote in favor of you. My vote today is to deny also.
Mr. President Stein, my vote is the same, and for the following reasons. You have adamant victim opposition, a prior criminal history of drugs, alcohol, and traffic violations, history of drugs and alcohol, and law enforcement opposition. For these reasons, the panel has voted to deny your request today. You have a good day.
Mr. Roche, I didn't put on the record that there was a need for substance abuse treatment. I didn't put that on the record.
Okay.
Yeah, a strong need for a substance abuse program.
Okay.
Well said, Mr. Andy. That's a well said. What do you mean, well said? I'm suffering with this as much as you are. That's what you tell a mother of a child who you take? You're going to have to live with this for the rest of your life? It's really crazy you get a 25-year sentence and have an opportunity for parole after 4 years. What an awful parole hearing. It felt like it was like all jovial and exciting. I could have sworn I saw them like laughing, talking all upbeat. Meanwhile, mom is sitting there. It took It took 7 minutes into the hearing before this child that he ran into was even mentioned having existed. And even then, it was mentioned in a fleeting way. When he talked about the accident, it was like, I was driving my wife to work and I hit a curb. That's what he said, right? He hit a curb. Does that look like someone who just hit a curb? What does that look like? Just a little fender bender, right? You know, driving his wife to work. And then his wife shows up at his parole hearing and talks all about how he needs to get out and all these things. And it's like, you know, you're culpable too. You let him get into that car, you let him drive, and then you show up and you want him out after all of these things after all the danger, five seconds before the airbags deployed, he was going 60 miles an hour. That's what they have on the data 5 seconds before. So assuming he did hit the brakes, it's nothing short of a tragedy. And I don't know why I said that. It is a tragedy. But to see this parole hearing, it's just like triggering. Here, let me share this. If you need more dramatics. That's her bike. And all she was doing, 7 years old, was in middle of the afternoon coming home from an activity with her relative when this guy decides to. The information is he bought a pint of Jack Daniels that morning, he admitted, and they found an empty bottle of Jack Daniels in his hotel room where he was living with his wife. But he just had one drink, right? Is that what he said? I just had one drink. When he blew that 1.2 or 1.3, that was also over 45 minutes after the accident. I'll go over the records and thank you, Richard, for providing it. On March 3rd, 2015, the state filed a bill of information charging the defendant with vehicular homicide. It alleged that on or about January 31st, 2015, the defendant killed 7-year-old while the defendant was engaged in the operation of a motor vehicle and had a blood alcohol concentration of 0.10% or more. What a dumb thing. That's 0.10 or more. So if it was 0. Just put the number, whatever. On January 14, 2016, the defendant pled guilty to vehicular homicide. In exchange for his guilty plea, the state agreed to dismiss other charges in the matter and not file an habitual offender bill. Because why not just, why go to trial? I mean, what's the point in going to, gosh, what are the odds that they'll win this case? I mean, think about it. The state will actually have to go to trial. And, well, that might cost them money. Besides, it's not like he was caught with possession and intent to distribute. I mean, seriously, it's insane because think about this. Here's a man, as we just went through his record, 84 traffic citations or law engagements. And as Mr. O'Shea pointed out, how many times he complete disregard for the safety of anyone else. Of any human life. And they gave him a deal where he's allowed to have parole after 4 years. It might be a 25-year sentence, but her mom had to sit in there and listen to him get out and try to get out and have to deal with that stress. And he's going to keep coming back for parole every couple of years because they didn't want to go to trial. It's not like you had to have the whole trial could have just lasted a half a day. Yeah, you have everything you need. He's not winning the case, but they don't care. If you're gonna make a plea deal, you can't allow that you can have parole after 4 years. But they don't care. The state does not care. The idea that he can be out and in a car again, which he will be, it just shows they never cared when he kept getting locked up. And It really was just a matter of time. The state and defense did not agree to a sentence, and the district court ordered a pre-sentencing report. A sentencing hearing was held on May 11, 2016, where Corporal Sanchez of the Shreveport Police Department testified that at 2:14 on January 31st, 2015, she was dispatched to investigate the car crash. She noted that she arrived at the scene approximately 40 minutes to an hour after the crash occurred. And I don't, I get I am certain that there were emergency personnel, fire that got there immediately, but still the idea that this type of accident would take 40 minutes for a supervisor to show up is, how is that possible? How is that possible? How is that possible? I mean, come on. Wow. And observed a vehicle on its rooftop in the intersection of Your Drive and Herndon Avenue. She stated that she was aware that there was a victim suffering from serious potential life-threatening injuries. And she's not even a sergeant. It's like it took that long for the court. Whatever. She stated that she was aware the victim was suffering from serious, potentially life-threatening injuries, and that in such a case, the police department performs a mandatory blood draw from the driver of the vehicle. After speaking with several witnesses at the crash, it was determined that the defendant was the driver of the vehicle. Defendant's blood was drawn, and the report was 0.120, and this is 40 minutes an hour after. Corporal Sanchez testified that she interviewed the defendant after he waived his Miranda rights and that he stated that he was driving his wife to work when the crash occurred. He admitted that he purchased a pint of Jack Daniels that morning. She also testified that she spoke to the defendant's friend who told her that defendant was at his house between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. on the day of the crash, and that he witnessed the defendant drink a mixture of Paul, Mason, and Sprite. She stated that another police officer searched the hotel room where the defendant and his wife were staying and recovered an empty pint of Jack Daniels. The crash chip from the defendant vehicle was recovered, and it indicated that 5 seconds before the airbags deployed, the vehicle was traveling 60 miles an hour. I don't know what the speed limit was, but Corporal Sanchez stated that she set up an interview with Gingerbread House for DH's cousin who witnessed the crash and learned that DH and her cousin were standing with their bicycles near the intersection when her cousin saw the defendant's car coming towards them. He was able to get out of the way of the vehicle, but DH was not. And he has to live with that guilt. Corporal Sanchez also testified about crime scene photographs, including one that showed handlebars of a child's bicycle underneath the vehicle, a pool of blood under the bicycle where DH was pulled out. She stated DH passed away on February 2nd, 2015, and that an autopsy report determined the cause of death of blunt force trauma. Corporal Sanchez by a motor vehicle. Corporal Sanchez testified she requested a report of the defendant's criminal history and learned that he had numerous prior arrests, including possession of Schedule 2. In 1995, driving while intoxicated, DWI. In 1996, DWI and driving with suspended license. Oh, look at that. He was lying when he said he only had one DWI. Who's surprised about that? You can even tell he's lying. He said, I think only one. He was trying to, he was trying to play it safe in his denial. DWI and driving suspended license in 97, a stop sign violation in 2005, a DV in 07, disturbing the peace in 07, and a paraphernalia in 08. It's not a lot of convictions with all of that engagement. Bradley K. Dean, a fire engineer and paramedic of Shreveport. I mean, the truth is, you'd think you'd have more DUIs. Bradley Key Dean, a fire engineer and paramedic of Shreveport Fire Department, testified that on January 31st, 2015, he was dispatched to the accident. So yeah, the fire department got there first at 2:30 p.m. and arrived at the scene. So he was dispatched at 2:13. He got there in 2 minutes. Well, at least they have someone doing their job in Louisiana. He observed a vehicle resting on its roof and extensive debris. He found DH on the ground and noted that she was completely unresponsive and had a considerable amount of hemorrhaging in her mouth. Her partner rolled her on her side to clear her airway. A pinkish substance came out of her ear, which indicated that she had a possible skull fracture. They put DH on a spine board and transferred her to the ambulance to take her to the hospital. Tequila testified that she is the mother, the irony of having the name, and read a statement she had prepared about the loss of her daughter. She noted that the death of DH caused her mental and physical pain. James Stevenson, the defendant's brother-in-law, stated that the defendant expressed remorse and was very apologetic about the accident. Yeah, very apologetic. He asked the district court to temper justice with mercy and that defendant's intentions would never be to harm anyone. And that's when the court, they sentenced him to 25 years, which is a good sentence. It's just that the first 3 years to be served without probation, not even the first 4 years, the first 3 years, what does that mean? I mean, is that legislative restraint? Because that's just stupid. That is just stupid. It's like that is not a proper sentence when you can have the possibility, when you can show up to a parole hearing just like that. I would have loved Marabella to have had a piece of him in this, really. I'm just not a fan of Miss Wise's interviews. I'm just not. I know some of you really like her and you have the idea that she's takes the really kind, soft spoken approach, but carries a big stick type of thing. But just not a fan. The district court stated that this sentence was to run concurrently with any other sentence noted. And here's his point. He requested the district court consider he had no DWI convictions in the last decade. And he expressed remorse. On May 19, 2016, the district court signed a ruling denying the defendant's motion to reconsider. So then they go through all the different things, and he said it was too excessive. This is all his appeal, and footnotes. In addition, state that the court shall require defendant to participate in court-approved abuse from district court defendant. Although the error renders defendant's sentence legally lenient, the court refrains from amending the sentence. Remaining representative state does not object. I don't know which sentence here is legally lenient. It could be they're referring to example cases, probably, where someone got a lesser sentence. Defendant's criminal history was also discussed at the court, noted the defendant's history of Pepsi abuse and DWI offenses in the 90s. It emphasized that the early 90s until as recently as 2014, the defendant had repeated instances of driving with a suspended license. His pattern of traffic-related violations demonstrate that it's not important to the defendant to be in compliance with the law. And that is correct. And, it's, oh my gosh, I realized I was just reading this entire thing where you couldn't even see it. I am sorry about that. I was just hit by a kid. He came up behind me, went through a red light, hit my car, driving with a suspended license. He came up to me and he said, please don't tell the police officer I was driving. You know, I have a suspended license. It'll be tough on me. And I thought, you know, I won't say anything if you know, I don't want to get into trouble. Well, why should I say anything? Let the police officer do his thing. The police, you know, an hour. It took like an hour for the traffic person to come, and the kid told the police officer that I went through the red light. If you can imagine, right? So I said, no, that's not what happened. And then the police officer asked me after really like it took a long time of interviewing them. They came to me and said, who is driving? And I said, at that point, I said, well, the guy in the white shirt, da da da. Oh, interesting. It turns out he told her that the driver was no longer at the scene, had gotten out and left. And so he got a ticket, just a ticket for driving with his suspended license. It was, you know, he had a friend with him who had a valid license who drove away. And the ticket was considered my word against his. He said, I went through red. I said, he went through red. And that was it. The cop gave me no benefit of the doubt, even though he was caught lying to her, even though he had a suspended license. According to the police report, it did not make a difference. It was my word against his, and it's up to the insurance company. And I was livid with that. That day I bought a dash cam. And then I went to the gas station to see if they had footage, and the gas station owner was really nice. He said, "Come back tomorrow between this and this time." I did, and I sat on the camera with him for a good, maybe at least half an hour, 40 minutes. And you see the footage. You see what he did in the pickup truck. He made an illegal U-turn, but the problem is that it was blurry. There was no license plate caught on it, and you don't. It just the footage. It wasn't one seamless thing, and you know, that was it. I couldn't do anything with it. But anyways, we've been here for 53 minutes now, and with that, I'll let you go.